Well, the weekend has come to a close, but we do not end things here. So for today, we're going to be, of course, doing three reviews from two different promotions. The first one, as you know, well, the first two are the two back-to-back shows by ChocoPro. As you know, they reach episode 400 and it's a 2-day event. But however, both days have main events. Title matches, of course. On day one, the Asian Dream Tag Team titles are defended, and the Super Asia Championship is also defended. And also something very interesting. There's a new logo that was presented by Emi Sakura during the show, but I will put that once we start that review. So you guys tell me what you guys think. Do you like the review, or do you like the new logo, or nah? You know what I mean? So leave a comment down below for that. And then, of course, we move on with our final review, and this one is a self-produced show by Yuji Nagata in New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, this one is called Blue Justice. That's right. So basically, he produced the show, and he's in the main event, teaming up with Jun Akiyama to take on Team Noah's Go Shiozaki and a Sushi Kotoge. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews and various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it either on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside, it's time to burn rubber. So let's begin with day one of ChocoPro episode 400. Okay, ChocoPro 400 day one. This happened on the 4th of October. Now, before I proceed, did anybody saw the logo that I just posted right now, not too long, like a few seconds ago, that once this whole thing began? Well, that's the new logo. So you guys leave me a comment what you think. Do you think it's a good one or it looks terrible? Or the one that we had previously was a lot better. So you guys leave a comment. Now, many of you may ask, why is it episode 400 a 2-day episode? That's a very interesting thing for everybody to ask. Now, this is something they've always done in every milestone since their start. You know, they did a 2-day show with 100, same thing with 200 and 300, and now Dun 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 dun. 400. So it's no secret. But I did like how they set up the matches, especially the only two title matches in this entire thing. Of course, our main event being the Asian Dream Tag Team titles on day one, the Super Asian Championship on day two. But let's go with day one at the moment. Now, as you know, Bal and Aki opened up the show, did the same thing. Emi Sakura showed up and introduced everybody the new logo, that sort of thing. So it was a pretty good opening. However, our first match, it features Antonio Honda teaming up with CDK, Masahiro Takanashi, and Chris Brooks, taking on Mochi Natsumi, Hirami Kurugi, and of course, Minoru Fujita. So it's interesting that these guys are facing off because we know Fujita has been in a standing story rivalry with Masa for a while, but it played out pretty well. But however, you would know because we know that Antonio Honda, his usual meter of tricks has always played out, and of course, the cleverness and slick ways of Masa and Chris has always been a very strong thing. But when it comes to Mochi and Kurugi, as you know, they're both members of Prominence, which obviously plays out pretty well for them. But however, of course, there was a funny moment where Honda was doing his little Rocky and then people were like da 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 da, but it did not do any well for him because it was Fujita who actually picked up the win by pinning him, giving him and his team the win. Our next match, we have a very interesting tag match. Now, this is a prelim before day two. We have Kaho Hiromi teaming up with the challenger for the Super Asia Championship, Sayaka. They face against Hiroyi Yawada and Mei Suga. Of course, as you know, Mei treats Kaho as a little sister, but at the same time, she views her as a rival because she's like a new version of her. And I don't know if Mei realized that she underestimated her the last time they fought in their singles match. Because, of course, look, Mei Suga, she's short. Yes, she's a very predictable individual, but when it comes to Kaho, she's similar as her. But unfortunately, that match did not go any well for Kaho. I mean, she could have won this match, but I don't know if there was like a mistake coming from Sayaka, but Mei was clever enough to dodge the bullet and able to pin Kaho just like that. So we'll see that. Now, our next match, we have Miya Yotsuba versus Emi Sakura. Now, I don't know if this is more of a, to have that match they were supposed to. Now, if you guys remember when Emi Sakura was supposed to, when she was still the Super Asia champion, Miya was supposed to challenge her, but due to an injury, that match was postponed. But I'm not sure if that was the case, to revisit that. But nonetheless, we have seen how Miya has changed, how much she has evolved in the last 2 years of her life in part of the ChocoPro brand ever since then. But I have to say she has grown up a lot. She has shown improvement since then. Of course, we did celebrate it recently, her 2-year anniversary, and it was great that she was able to pick up to get that. But however, she was unable to defeat, of course, the master Emi Sakura, even though she wasn't trained by her. But it was Emi Sakura with the Queen's Gambit that allowed her to pick up the win. Now, our next match is the main event, the Asian Dream Tag Team titles. Shin Suzuki and Shonshiru versus Chiko Shikawa and Sayaka Obihiro. Now, the significance of this match, many of you may or may not remember. Last year, Shin Suzuki and Shonshiru were able to win the tag team titles by default when, of course, Chris Brooks got hurt during a Got to Move event, resulting, of course, Shin and Shon winning the match. Now, some people think that that was like a very uncalled for decision, but it was a decision that had to be made. However, once again, it repeated itself, but this time it caused an injury to Shin Suzuki. So basically, Shin was out for almost a year or so. But during his recovery, the last few months, he has been helping out with ChocoPro and Got to Move on certain levels. Same thing with Baka Gaijins. But he was unable to participate yet until he was medically cleared, until recently, not too long ago, he got. And of course, Chon Shido and him teamed up, and Shin thought that it was proper that they deserve another opportunity of the tag title since they did not lose those titles. Chon Shido made a decision by talking with Shin, asking him that there's no point of holding on if he's injured. So they had to make the difficult decision, and those titles were vacant for a while. So until the Best Bros won them and then lost them to Masa to Emmy, that sort of thing. That's how we got here. But of course, we know the capabilities from both sides. I mean, we know Shin, he's really good at what he does. Sean, he's a bit more clever. You look at Chi, she's high energy, and Obi, she is very well, you can say clever, but very creative in her own way, you know. But however, it was of course excellent teamwork between Obi and Chi to pick up the win, and just like that, they retained the belts. But they showed respect to both Shin and Chon due to the fact that they lost, realizing that they understand it was frustrating, but they respect them dearly for that. Now, for a Junkin tournament, I wasn't too sure how this was going to be, but however, it was Sayaka who actually picked up the win, and the runner-up was none other than Chris Brooks. So, just like that, that's how day one ended. So I can't wait to review the day two, so let's get started on that. Okay, ChocoPro Day 2. This happened on October 5th. As you know, same old, same old. But however, our main event does feature the Super Asian Championship. We'll get to that in a bit. Now, as always, Balinaki opened up the show, gave the information on what's been happening throughout what's going to happen throughout the entire event. But let's get started. Our first match, we have Kaho versus Saki. Now, of course, Kaho has been very a clever individual. Now, clever enough that she can try to dodge every type of move that her opponents do. Like, she knows exactly what Mei Shuga would try to do. But there was a moment where, of course, with Saki, she tried to, of course, do the little punch, but it actually is like a fork going to the abdomen, and she was able to dodge it. But what's funny about this, Kaho was choking out Saki on the outside of the window of the building in Ichigaya Square where they do their shows. So Saki decided to sorry guys, it was just too funny. Instead of going through the window, she decided I'm gonna walk around the corner to the front door. So she's like while Kaho is choking her out. I'm like, oh my god. I think Kaho's gonna be my new favorite wrestler in ChocoPro. I mean, sorry, May, someone's taking your spot. But it was fun. But unfortunately, Kaho did not win. She ended up losing the match. So, yeah. But I have to say, Kaho is really fun. I love watching her. Now, our next match, we have CDK. They face against Mei Shuga W, consistent of Ken Oka versus Balinaki W, Emi Sakura. So, now some of you may be saying, why am I putting W? Well, that's the easiest question because those who know this, Ken Oka had a bit of a rivalry with Mei Shuga about a year or two ago. And he decided to dress up like her, like pretend that she's her, does a little cuteness thingy, you know. And he showed up that way. And Emi Sakura decided to dress up as Aki. And Aki, who was, of course, still on injury, well, he was enjoying what he was seeing. I mean, he thinks that Emi Sakura dresses better than him. I mean, that's what he believes. But however, every time he sees Chris Brooks or Masa trying to hurt his own self, it was like, how dare you? But unfortunately, the match was good. I mean, they did try to imitate what the Best Bros do, but they cannot do the whole dolphin press. That's something that's been clear. But unfortunately, Aki W got pinned, but I'm not sure what happened because Emi Sakura seemed like she got hurt or something, and of course, Chris and Masa and Ken decided to take her out by carrying her out. So hopefully she was okay, but nonetheless, it was a fun match. Now, our next match, we have a 6-woman tag match. We have Hiroya Yawada, Miya Yatsuba, and Tokiko Kirara taking on Nonaka Seto and our current Asian Dream Tag Champions, Chi and Obi. So it was a pretty good match. There was some great cohesion on both sides, which obviously was very impressive. I mean, and also it's interesting, as you know, Miya it was standing diagonally from her sister Nonoka, so it was obvious that things like that was going to happen, even though those two will team up from time to time. But that wasn't the thing. However, it was Chi that picked up the win by teaming up Hiroi, because X Factor Hiroi does have the less experience in the entire match. But yes, so that played out exactly like it was going to be. Now for a main event, the Super Asia Championships. A week ago, Sayaka actually issued the challenge against May, and of course, it happened. However, Sayaka, I have to say, she is a very impressive wrestler. Also, she has grown so much. I mean, she was like that kind of cute girl that you think, oh, she's gonna keep losing, even though she is cute. I'm not gonna lie about that as a man, but I have seen her how she has grown up a lot. She has shown a new side of her. That's why they call her the Smiley Violence, because she throws in a little bit of the violence in her wrestling craft, which I have to say is very impressive. But the real question is, can she withstand someone who has a much better experience than her, which is Mei Suruga. We all know Mei, as you know, many people often talked about how she was, in fact, should have been the ace after Riho left for AEW all those years ago. But however, Mei is now fulfilling that, but she does that, he has that heel look as well on her life. But however, Mei was managed to target either the hand or the arm of Sayaka, but unfortunately, Mei was able to put her in a submission, allowing her to pick up the win. So that kind of sets it up right there. Now, as for the Jonkin tournament, I'm going to skip ahead how we got to the finals. Anyway, guess who was in the finals? Well, our current Super Asia champion, Mei, and of course, Mei Suruga W as well. Yeah, Kanoko was there too. So basically, it was funny. Balinaki was supporting Mei Suruga W, and people were rooting for her, or him, however you want to call it. But yes, but unfortunately, it did not happen. W lost. Very disappointing. So basically, Mei Suruga walked away not only as the winner to retain the Super Asia Championship, but also won the Jonkin tournament. So yeah, 8 life grand right there. But it was a fun show, not to say the least. I mean, I did enjoy Kaho, who was very cute and very clever. I have to say she's going to be the new Mei Suruga in years to come, but in a much funner way, instead of a devilish way by Mei Suruga. I can guarantee you that. But anyway, we had fun on this one, so I think it's time to move on with our last final review, and that is, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yuji Nagata's self-produced show, Blue Justice, number 16. Well, I did not know he does this thing, to be honest with you, but very interesting stack of lineup. This was one of the recent shows they just put out. Now, let's just go from start to finish. We have a 6-man tag match. We have Daiki Naiga and Katsuya Morishima teaming up with Bolton Oleg. Yeah, so we got two young lions teaming up with a former young lion, but now he's making headways. They take on, of course, Masatoya Usada and Shomakato taking on Toru Yano. So yeah, basically Oleg and Yano are opposite sides of each other since they are 2/3 of the never open weight 6-man tag team champions. So that sets it up. But however, nothing too significant about this. But however, this is a good chance for many of the young lions to experience more things. Now, of course, Yano has, those who know this or not, Yano is one of the instructors in the New Japan Dojo. From what I heard, he's a very tough teacher, very strong. He can be all fun and games when you see him, but when it comes to teaching, he's all hardcore. Like, not hardcore like beating the crap out of you. Like, you try to push you to your limits, that type of hardcore. But yeah, but however, of course, like any other young lion, they have to learn the hard way when it comes to wrestlers who are experienced, especially Bolton Oleg, who knows that feeling because he put what's his name, Yasuda in the Boston Crab, and just like that, he tap out. Now our next match, we have Bullet Club, consistent of Taiji Ishimori teaming up with the guys, their brethren down in Australia, Caveman Ugg and Balak Fale. To be honest with you guys, Balak Fale, he bleached his beard blonde. I mean, it looks ridiculous, just to be honest with you guys. Not to take away anything about his abilities as a wrestler, but the way he did it, it looks kind of ridiculous. But they're facing against TMDK. We have Hartley Jackson, Shane Haste, and of course Mikey Nichols. However, of course, the significance, nothing is. But however, there is a common duality on this one. Those who know this, you look at Caveman Ugg and Balak Fale, they normally would do shows in the New Zealand area, while of course TMDK, they originate from Australia. So basically, they are neighboring, sort of neighbors across the pond from each other. But it was interesting. But the one thing that was shocking about this match is how it ended, because it was Caveman Ugg who picked up Hartley Jackson and pinned him. I'm like, what the fudge? I'm like, holy cow, who the hell is this guy? But wow, not bad. I'm like, this guy's strong as hell. I mean, it makes me think if they put this guy with someone in New Japan and see how that rolls up. But yeah, or no, AEW or any wrestler who are strong. But yes. Now our next match we have, I hate these guys, the House of Torture, or Kanemaru and Sho versus just 5 guys, Taka Michinoku and Doki. Now, it's no secret that sleazeball Sho is now out to get the IWGP title, because as you guys remember, Sho screwed Doki the last time, and now he thinks he's confident. I'm going to take that belt for you. Well, let's see if that's smug face. I mean, look, I know Doki has learned his mistakes from last time. You know the old saying, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. So I'm sure Doki will figure it out. But however, the usual tricks always play out. But it was Kanemaru who picked up the win onto Taka with the figure 4, and just like that, it was over. But of course, Sho, with his cocky and arrogant attitude, I don't know what he says, but he's looking forward and taking the belt away. I'm sure Doki knows that. He knows that Sho is up to no good. Of course, those sleazeball of arrogant pieces of garbages, House of Torture would do whatever it takes to get that belt back to House of Torture. They ought to rename themselves the House of Morons. That's what they ought to call themselves. Now our next match, we have LIJs, Hiromu Takahashi and Yoda taking on Jacob Austin Young and of course Jeff Cobb. So of course, there have been instances we have seen Yota Tsuji and Jeff Cobb butt heads. If you guys remember, at the end of the G1, Jeff Cobb blamed Yota Tsuji for not winning the G1. He thinks it was a mistake for him to go to the finals. It's the same thing what happened at the New Japan Cup last time with David Finlay, but I'm sure their feud is going to rekindle at some point. But however, in this case, it was Hiromu who picked up the win with a somewhat of a modified figure 4 leg lock onto Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have Shota Umino, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on the other idiots, the House of Torture, consistent of Dick Togo, the moron, the Tokyo pimp, Yujiro Takashi, who needs to be in a rocking chair, and Evil, who needs to be locked up. So, but of course, like any other match when it comes to the House of Torture, they will do all sorts of dirty tricks. Now, of course, it's no secret that Tanahashi has to put up with Evil telling everybody, hey guys, Tanahashi's a scumbag, so don't believe him. He's a loser. I'm the real president. Yeah, right, Evil. You're not the president. You're just an idiot who can't win at all. You always cheat. And of course, Shota Umino, who knows he has to deal with these idiots time and time again because they're trying to stop him from becoming the ace. Well, he gets a little measure of that revenge when he put Dick in the Death Rider. So basically, he got a little bit of measure of revenge from that. So we'll see what happens down the line. I hope Shota Umino puts them in their place. Our next match, this was a very interesting one. We have Tomoaki Honda. He teams up with, of course, the Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. And they team up also with Bishamon, Yoshihashi, and Goto. They team up with the Bullet Club War Puppies, Ghetto, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, who needs diapers, and of course, the guy who needs more tissues, David Finlay. So, of course, if you guys know this or not, Hiroki Goto is now aiming for the IWGP Global title, and that's something we've been seeing. But of course, we're going to see a lot of things happening. But however, it was a great cohesion with, of course, with Bishamon and Jet Setters and Hamna. They were able to defeat the Bullet Club War Dogs, all thanks to the efforts of Jet Setters that put away Ghetto, and just like that, it was over. But I'm sure David Finlay will not forget this. He will destroy Goto no matter what. But we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our next match, prelim before the upcoming matches, we have, of course, TMDK, Rohei Oiwa, Kosei Fujita, and Zack Sabre Jr. They take on LIJ's Bushi, Shingo Takagi, and Tetsuya Naito. Now, don't forget, Oiwa was the one who issued the challenge to Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight title, while Zack Sabre Jr., as you all know, he is this year's winner of the G1, and he challenges Naito for the IWGP World title. So that sets it up. But however, the bigger topic is, of course, is Oiwa, who, as you know, has been on an excursion in Noah, has learned a lot, and many of you were surprised to see him. He aligned himself with TMDK. Of course, I mentioned on a news report the reason he joined TMDK was because he was learning from Yoshinari Ogawa, who was one time Zack Sabre Jr.'s student. So basically, he knows that he's retired, so why not learn from the student who learned from him? So it was a fair deal. And of course, there's a bit of history between Fujita and, of course, and Zack. Don't forget, Oiwa and Fujita helped Zack Sabre Jr. in order to defeat Evil, in order to proceed for the New Japan World Television title. So that's the reason. But it worked out pretty well for them. So, however, once again, it was Oiwa with his impressive move with a big, strong lariat onto Bushi that allowed him to pick up the win. So I thought it was great, and also a straight-up message that TMDK are telling LIJ, we're coming for your title, so be ready. Now for our main event. Of course, we have Atsushi Kotoge and Go Shiozaki, members of Team Noah from Pro Wrestling Noah. They take on Jun Akiyama, who's been known as one of the pillars of the modern All Japan Pro Wrestling back in the 90s, and he teams up with Yuji Nagata, which was great. Of course, it was going to be a very interesting match, and it was. But it was, of course, Yuji Nagata with the backdrop driver onto Shiozaki that picked up the win. So it was a very fun experience. I did like the Blue Justice thing. I like the name Blue Justice. They should make a cartoon series or something about it. I don't know. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it. So hope you guys get to see it. I think that's pretty much it with every review we have. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with, of course, with updates with the upcoming events. We have about 4 of them. As you know, later on this month, on the 11th of October, West Coast Pro will have the thing that should not be, and they announced that the World Tag Team titles will be defended in a street fight match. So Los Suavecitos will defend it against, of course, Titus Alexander and Starboy Charlie. So that's going to be an epic match. I would love to see Titus and Starboy Charlie win those tag belts. House of Glory, as you know, will have their upcoming event, Salvation, on the 18th of October. I recently announced that Alley Catch will be making her debut, and it was announced that she'll be facing against Diamond. So that's going to be an interesting debut for her. Now, as we continue to with the lineup for the upcoming RevPro event, Global Wars UK, that will take place on the 19th of October, it appears that Zozaya will be head-to-head against Connor Mills in a 6-man tag team match. Now, however, they are now picking their own teams. We don't know who will be. They'll be picking 2 other additional wrestlers to join them, so we just don't know. So I'm just putting it out there. Deadlock Pro Wrestling has announced for an upcoming event starting next month on the 17th of November, the World's Strongest. This one will features, of course, the debut of Beast Mortos. So this is his very first appearance. So that's pretty much it for our upcoming events. Let's talk about developments. First, we have some medical updates on wrestlers who were injured. Many of you guys remember Powerhouse Hobb was out for a while. Fightful Select has revealed that he is now cleared to return. But the real question is, how will they introduce him again on his return? There's those who have been talking about, of course, him involving with the Hurt Syndicate. There was a photo where he was outside during the promo when MVP made his debut in front of Nana. So that's something we will expect. Fightful Select also reports on the medical update here with Keith Lee. As you all know, he's been out for a while. He is not medically cleared yet. Hopefully everything works out for him. We just don't know when he'll be out. On a nice note here, many of you remember I mentioned that Tatum Paxley got married to Big Body Javi Bernal. They just posted a photo that they're having their honeymoon in Costa Rica. Now, some of you may think it's nothing too significant, but for me it is, because I'm half Costa Rican. So I've been there before. So it's a nice country to visit, even on your honeymoon or just enjoy a nice vacation. Diamond Dallas Page has made the news as well. He just signed a WWE Legends contract, so as you know that he will be making appearances. So that's pretty much it. Taiji Ishimori has revealed that he will participate in this year's Super Junior Tag League for this year. His partner will be an interesting person, as he said. However, he hasn't participated in this type of event since 2021, so it's kind of interesting what we're going to be hearing. Mike Bailey has talked about, of course, people were saying what kind of legacy he'll be living. I mean, Mike Bailey is an incredible wrestler, and not to mention, he said this, that he is not interested leaving a legacy. He's more about making the most of every opportunity, and I have to say that's a fair thing. I mean, you're not trying to leave. You just want to have every opportunity to enjoy the experience while you're still living. That is most important. Tokyo Ocean Pro Wrestling has recently announced 2 new trainees that will be part of the Up Girls, not the main unit, which is, of course, the actual real idol group, but this is the idol group within the wrestling promotion. With Miyu Watanabe, Shino Suzuki, Raku, Ura Takumi, and all that. So we have Konatsu, who's 23, and Kana, who's 19. So we're yet to hear more about them, but stay tuned for that. Now, Tam Nakano, as you all know, recently just defeated Zuzu Suzuki to retain the red belt. However, you may ask yourselves, what is her next move? Well, she recently talked about getting revenge to everyone who she lost to. Now, she did mention getting revenge on everyone who defeated her during the 5-star Grand Prix. But there are certain other wrestlers that she would like to have a match to rectify those losses. And among them, many of you probably would love to see it, and I hope you guys would too. One of them is, of course, the very bubbly and cheery Willow Nightingale. Yeah, some of you may question, but I thought they were friends. Well, they are, but however, Tam cannot let this match go unseen, so basically that's the reason. Hopefully they find a way to introduce it. But I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, if Tam Nakano still holds on to the belt, that they will put this at Wrestle Dynasty on July 5th. That is something I would think it could happen, but we'll just have to wait and see until then. But for now, I think we are done with everything else. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet. I mean, there are several events I have missed out. We do have, of course, Mighty Gold with their latest tour. We do have the recent Tokyo Pro Wrestling event, GLEAT, and a few others. So I haven't decided yet how we're going to go. So I'll keep you guys posted on that when it's ready. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is, and I'll just wing it. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.